and welcome to another interview. Today I'm joined by Jez Bellis, who is a creator and designer of youHQ, which is a wellbeing software in the UK that has just recently been launched. How long is it since you've been launched, Jez?
Hi, Louise. Yeah, so we've been trading properly for about 2 years now.
Okay, so tell me about youHQ. What is it and what does it do?
So yeah, youHQ is a wellbeing and personal development platform. It's a student-focused app. So students can log in with their wellbeing, their mood, how they're feeling, why they're feeling that way. And then our platform is then designed for students to go on and think a bit more in depth about their personal values, their goals around their values, the person they may want to become, their purpose. We've got a library of evolving resources on each student's app that, like I said, evolves as they start to engage more with it. So yeah, we call it's a wellbeing and a personal development platform.
Okay, so you said it's an app. So is this a website or does this go on student personal devices?
It's both. So it's downloadable App Store, Google Play. It can be used on any browser. So yeah, we've tried to be as nimble as possible. We're UK based, so those of you that know about the UK schools market will know that it's very varied. So yeah, we've tried to make it as simple and as usable as possible. So where one school might use iPads, another school might not have one-to-one devices. Some schools we work with, they ask the students to use them on their phones from home. So yeah, it can be used pretty much on any device anywhere as long as you can connect to the internet.
Okay, so do schools buy this or do children buy this for themselves?
No, it's very much aimed at schools at the moment. We have got thoughts and ideas moving forward that it might be available to students and to families, but at the moment we very much sell into schools. It's also important to note that whilst it's a student-centric app, we have a pastoral hub dashboard for staff. So our platform works by students knowing that someone is going to be on the other end. It's not anonymous. They're not on their own. The member of staff is nudged and is messaged, especially if the student reaches out for support or logs a low mood. So that the whole idea with ours is that it facilitates a really deep, meaningful connection between staff and student in schools. And it's not a replacement for a member of staff. It's there to support and facilitate the amazing work that staff are doing. And we know, and you know better than most, that staff in a modern world post-pandemic are working harder than ever to not only support academically, but also then support pastorally and with mental health and wellbeing, which has obviously become more and more prominent.
Okay, so schools buy the package and then they get a login facility. Students download onto a device or onto a school device. They log in. Each child is assigned an adult that responds and connects with their with the app and with the student. And how about a safeguarding perspective? How are teachers and children protected in a safeguarding capacity?
That's a really good question. Yeah, safeguarding has become a huge part of the platform, and we have a smart integration with some of the big safeguarding companies. So if staff are concerned with anything they're seeing, whether it's mood related, wellbeing related, or anything they're seeing students entering on the platform, they have a very quick access to log that on the safeguarding platforms they use. Or if schools don't use those safeguarding platforms, then we just have a quick link to the DSL. So we've very much trying to bridge that gap between the wellbeing platform and the safeguarding side of it. We've also done quite a lot of work with some other companies that pick up on words that might be used. So anything in the goal setting area where that might bring concern, there's a quick way to pick up on that. And we've got some really good stories where things have been picked up early and sorted out before it becomes something bigger. From the staff side, we're very, very conscious that they're already working super hard, especially as we speak at the moment in some areas of the world, feeling overstretched and underpaid. So we try and make it so that they're not being bombarded with information, and that the information comes through when it should. And they also have a choice on how much information comes through, who receives that information. So obviously people at a senior level and the safeguarding leads would probably get more information more of the time, whereas the staff that might be tutors working with smaller groups will only see their tutor group's information and might not see everything coming through. So trying to achieve that balance is really important. But like you said, I think one of the key things here is that the app is supporting the keeping children safe and safeguarding side of the work that schools are doing.
Right. So say I was a teacher and I was connected to a student. are the conversations and the information passing between us just for me and the student, or is there a holistic manager within a school that is watching and monitoring that activity?
Yeah, there's always at least one full administrator or manager of the system. Normally there's more than that. We tend to be talking to designated safeguarding leads, IT managers, assistant heads, pastoral heads, and heads of house and heads of year. Those administrators tend to take on that area. And again, we're very open and honest from the start that with both staff and students and parents who can see what and why they're doing it. I think there is still a sense that because this is still relatively new, that there is still a sense that maybe this is a bit, some things should be private. Yeah, and some things, and this is I suppose the argument will rage on how technology, how invasive it becomes and how much we get to see. And it's an interesting debate. And obviously for us and like-minded companies like us that are doing similar things, we're here to try and create a really positive whole school wellbeing culture, not to spy on anyone, but importantly, like you said, to protect the key stakeholders in the school as well. Yeah.
You said that you've got some plugins with some key softwares. So when you say that, do you mean companies like CPOMS?
Yeah, CPOMS and the Safeguarding Company, the two that spring to mind, are the two that we've got really strong relationships with already. And the two in the UK, at least, because we are predominantly UK based, but obviously coming over and meeting you and seeing a really big demand in Dubai and Abu Dhabi and the region for this type of software, it's going to be really interesting for us. We see that there's really exciting opportunity. But yeah, CPOMS and my concern, the Safeguarding Company, are the two that we work the most with, but there are other ones there as well. And they're all obviously, they have their differences, but the concept is the same.
So I believe that you used to be a PE teacher. What on earth brought you to this from PE?
That's thank you for asking that question. Met a lot of PE teachers in the last couple of days. Lots of PE teachers will probably agree that they tend to go down the pastoral route a lot of the time. I think on a sports field and a sports court, and when you see students up and being physical, you often get to see a different side to their personality to when they're sat in the classroom. And I became increasingly interested in bridging the gap between physical and mental health. In my early years as a PE teacher, I was very much elite sport. Let's get these kids active. Let's get them fit. Let's get them playing sport at the highest level. That was my drive. I think when I became a parent, I really totally changed. And I realized that in life, we'll all look back at this stuff and realize the most important thing is kindness and well-being and how well we look after each other and how connected we are. And I believe that there's a lot of work we can do, and I hope that we can do at youHQ that really continues to educate and bridge that gap between physical activity and mental fitness. And the term mental fitness is one I love. And I think that we really are passionate about those two things and how we can bring that into the platform and the work we do.
Okay. I think one of the reasons that we connected was our understanding of additional needs in children. Are you open to sharing your story with your children?
Absolutely. Yeah. So, and I think that's really important, isn't it? Because when you start a business, I think often it might boil down to something personal. So I adopted my boys about 10 years ago now. We were looking back at photos today, actually, my wife and I, and we can't believe they're big heathens now. But adopting children is definitely not simple, and my boys have got some needs at school, and they're quite complex, and those needs are often centered around their behavior, their social emotional behavior, academic as well. And obviously you're an absolute expert in that area, so yeah, it was great to connect with you on that. And I think myself and one of my co-founders, children who has had some issues at school, we were finding that there wasn't really something that there were things there in place, there were some apps available, but I suppose we are trying to use our personal experience to try and make the best possible product to support all these different types of neurodiverse students, because we firmly believe, as you do, that we need to buy into the unique individuality of every student and get to know them at a deeper level. And if we can do that through tech, not just through tech, but if the tech can enhance that and we can use that in a useful way, then we think that's really important. So yeah.
So I think what we know about children who have experienced trauma or who experience additional needs which affect processing or communication, such as autism, ADHD, or as I said, trauma, we know that they don't volunteer information about themselves or about their feelings because they've been taught to either hide it, or they're not able to find the words, or don't know the vocabulary. So products like this really help children to express themselves in a semi-confidential but supportive manner, but it gives them the tools to help them understand themselves. So tell me, what's different in your product to other products? Why would schools buy youHQ as opposed to some of the others that are out there on the market?
It's a really good question. So I don't think that wellbeing check-ins are anything new and novel. I think there's a lot of them out there doing something fairly similar. And we have that functionality within ours because we know it's important. But for us, I think the uniqueness is, and so what? What do you then do after that? Mm-hmm. So we firmly believe, through the work we do with one of our directors, Dr. Alistair Bailey, clinical psychologist in the NHS. The full story of our company is we're 4 friends from university, but we all went on to do very different things. And Dr. Bailey is a really strong believer in cognitive behavioural therapy, and specifically acceptance and commitment therapy. And it's such a one. If people don't know about it, please look it up. It's brilliant. And it's very much based around personal values and goals. So, our app has the wellbeing side, but then the personal development side is all centered around, okay, this is how you feel. This is what might be making you feel this way. Now let's go on to think about what your values might be and what you think is really important to you. And now let's self-reflect on some goals you can set yourself. There's no right or wrong. Goals can be set in this way, in that way. Who are you as a human being? Because again, we all know when we leave school, yes, let's do the best we can. Let's work hard and get good grades. And schools are obviously under pressure to show they're adding value academically. But in my experience as a teacher, the most powerful part of teaching is when students grow up, come back and say to you, you gave me time, you believed in me as a person, and this is what I've gone on to do. And I've taught students that have bombed all their exams and gone on to be amazing people and doing amazing things. And, that's really for us, that second part of what we do. The other thing I think that we do brilliantly is we really listen. We're quite small still. We're not a huge organization. We haven't partnered with a huge organization. We really listen and work with our students. We're very student focused. So we meet with groups of sixth formers and different age students fairly regularly, listen to the users and try and improve and develop the app, listening to them, but also to the teachers and what they need. So we're really trying to marry those two things together as best we can. And I think the final thing for us is, going back to what we were saying, we're trying to create, every user for us is going to have their own unique experience within the platform. So as we improve it, as we start to engage with the new technologies coming through, they might be scary. People talking a lot about AI and machine learning, but if we can harness the real positive side of that, so that the platform becomes a bespoke, unique tool for the uniqueness of everyone using it, then we know it can be really powerful. And I think, that alongside everything else I've said makes us different, makes us stand out. And we really genuinely care about this. Some schools want this to tick a box, and there's a lot of boxes to tick in schools. We want to work with schools that are genuinely passionate about putting wellbeing first, putting the student first, and giving the student agency to support their own well-being, because we know that's important for their futures.
Yeah, that's awesome. So I was privileged enough to see youHQ when we were at Jess in November last November last year. So I've had a demo and I've seen it, and I thoroughly believe in it, which is what's brought us here. If schools want to have a demonstration, you can do that with them. Free trial, what's on offer?
Absolutely. So we've created something very recently called we call it the youHQ Discovery Portal. So if you go to our website, youhq.co.uk, there's a couple of links on there. If you click the link just to try it, then you'll be sent through a link to the portal, and that is just something for you to play around with. You can use it from a student's perspective, a member of staff's perspective, and then most people that then use that contact us. They might ask some questions on a Zoom demo normally. We do offer some free trials. It is dependent on the school, how many users, but we have that conversation and then we go from there. It's a real mixture. Some schools see it, love it, sign up straight away. Others, as you know, take a bit longer. But I'm a teacher. I was a teacher for 15 years. We know how it is in schools. We know how busy people are. So that patience and waiting for teachers when it's ready for the school, we know they'll come to us. So yeah, we have a discovery portal. We do offer some free trials depending on the school, and then we go from there. And then normally it's a year subscription to start with. It's based on the number of users. So the more students that are going to use it, obviously brings the price down a little bit. And we've got a couple of models. We've got a stripped back model. We have a primary version as well. It's important to note. We have a stripped back model we call youHQ Essentials, which is essentially the wellbeing check-in with a few of the features. And then our complete model uses all the CBT and ACT goal setting features I spoke about earlier.
Awesome. Okay, so this video is clearly on my website, so people can make contact with me, and I will provide you with Jez's email address, and he's got the website. Again, the link is on my page. Feel free to go and have a look. Feel free to go and discover, and then feel free, if you want direct contact with Jez, just let me know and I will put you together through email or through WhatsApp. Okay, thanks very much for listening. Thank you very much for joining me, Jez.
Thank you, Louise. Lovely to speak to you.
Very welcome, and I'll see you all again on the next one. Thank you. Bye-bye.